Just when the PGA Tour thought it survived the LIV threat, its biggest star delivered a warning that sent shockwaves through the sport. Rory McIlroy, the six-time major champion and defending Masters winner, hinted he might skip the $20 million FedExCup Playoffs opener, and the reason is devastating for the Tour's leadership. The man who has won more FedEx Cup titles than anyone else in history said he doesn't care about the first two playoff events. And now the golf world is demanding answers. Just weeks ago, Rory McIlroy stood in front of the microphones at the Open Championship and delivered a message that left PGA Tour executives scrambling. When asked about the FedEx Cup playoffs, the six-time major champion didn't mince words. "I guess I'm just at a stage that I have other things that I prioritize," McIlroy said. The PGA Tour is in a lot of flux at the minute, with a lot of their schedule and structure and everything like that. Then came the devastating admission that exposed the Tour's playoff format as fundamentally broken. With the starting strokes format scrapped in 2025, a player's regular season performance no longer guarantees an advantage in the season finale. McIlroy pointed out the absurdity. "I just need to be in the top 30 going in there to have a chance to win a FedEx Cup, so why would I care about the first two?" The message was clear. The playoffs, once the crown jewel of the PGA Tour season, had become an afterthought for its biggest star. The man who has dominated the playoffs more than anyone was questioning whether they were worth his time.
McIlroy's threat wasn't empty. Last year, he became the only player among the top 7 in the standings to skip the FedEx St. Jude Championship, sparking a firestorm of criticism. The decision highlighted a major problem with the PGA Tour's priorities. Playoff points are weighted 4 times heavier than regular events, but McIlroy had banked enough points that sitting out cost him almost nothing. PGA Tour Policy Board Player Director Peter Malnati went public with his frustration within days. "Very concerned," he said, warning that changes could follow to stop top players from skipping playoff events. Golf writers started calling the fix the Rory rule. McIlroy's blunt response only poured fuel on the fire. He told The Telegraph in November 2024 that a tied for 68th finish at the TPC Southwind barely moved him in the standings, offering him nothing to the chase. His math was airtight, and that was the problem. The Tour's playoff structure had created a loophole that its biggest star was willing to exploit. Just when the golf world expected McIlroy to follow through on his threat, something unexpected happened. On August 7th, the PGA Tour announced that McIlroy had committed to the FedEx St. Jude Championship at TPC Southwind in Memphis. The announcement sent shockwaves through the sport. McIlroy, who had barely been seen since the Open Championship, would make just his 12th start of the season. He hadn't played a competitive round since July, spending the summer vacationing with his wife Erica and daughter Poppy in the Greek islands. Rory is not physically tired after playing a round of golf, but it is the mental fatigue of always being on, always in the spotlight, never getting a break. Faxon revealed that McIlroy barely swung a club during his entire summer break. Despite the light schedule, McIlroy sits 12th in the FedEx Cup standings, comfortably inside the top 30 cutoff for the Tour Championship. His position is a testament to his dominance earlier in the season, capped by his back-to-back Masters victory. The man who was threatening to skip the playoffs is now the tournament's biggest draw. But the questions remain. Why the change of heart?
While McIlroy has committed to playing, the motivation remains a subject of intense speculation. Some analysts believe McIlroy's heart isn't in Memphis at all. CBS Sports' Patrick McDonald doesn't think the playoffs are McIlroy's real target. Instead, McDonald believes McIlroy's focus is on the European Tour stretch that follows the postseason. "I wouldn't be surprised if he cares more about this stretch on the European Tour after the postseason than the postseason itself," McDonald said. "You have the Irish Open defense, you have the BMW PGA Championship, which he has come really close to, and then of course he'll go to India, get a nice appearance fee there, and all that fun stuff." The math suggests McDonald is right. McIlroy has openly admitted that the PGA Tour and the FedExCup Playoffs don't enthuse him as much as they used to. The Irish Open is his home event, the BMW PGA Championship is close to his present home, and the appearance fees are significant. The PGA Tour has become an obligation. The European Tour is where his heart lies. McIlroy's return to Memphis is a relief for PGA Tour executives, but the underlying problem remains. The playoffs have lost their meaning for the sport's biggest stars. When a player can skip the first event and still coast into the Tour Championship, the system is broken. The Tour's response has been to promise changes. A two-tiered structure, set to debut in 2028, will feature a revamped Tour Championship at a rotation of prestigious courses, many of which the PGA Tour would play for the first time. But those changes are 2 years away. In the meantime, McIlroy's 2026 season has been a study in selective participation. He has played just 6 events and only 3 outside of majors since successfully defending his Masters title in April. His finishes included tied 19th at the Truist Championship, a tied 12th at the Memorial, and a share of 7th at the Genesis Scottish Open. The Tour's biggest star is playing less and less, and the playoffs may be the first casualty.
Rory McIlroy's decision to return to the FedExCup Playoffs is a relief for the PGA Tour. But the underlying problem remains. The playoffs have lost their meaning for the sport's biggest stars. The man who has won more FedEx Cup titles than anyone in history questioned whether the events were worth his time, and the golf world is demanding answers. The questions now are impossible to ignore. Will McIlroy actually give his full effort in Memphis? Can the Tour fix its playoff format before more stars start skipping events? And what does McIlroy's selective participation say about the future of professional golf? One thing is certain, the man who once dominated the FedEx Cup is now its biggest question mark, and the golf world will be watching every shot.